the television appearance and the new bank policy, Mr. Mooney's education speech and the diploma ultimatum. The opening moments of this composite narrative from The Lucy Show establish with characteristic economy and affectionate satire, the central tension that will propel Lucille Ball's Lucy Carmichael through an extraordinary sequence of personal reinventions. We begin not in the familiar clutter of Lucy's home or the marble corridors of the bank but in a quiet domestic evening shared between Lucy and her friend Doris. The conversation is warm, ordinary, and immediately revealing of the social fabric of 1960s middle-class life. Dinner has been just great. Lucy is thanked for the invitation and the two women remark that it has been ages since they last saw each other. The easy intimacy of the exchange is interrupted by Lucy's sudden recollection that she has forgotten to turn on the television set. She does not wish to miss him. When Doris inquires who him might be, the answer arrives with comic inevitability: Mr. Mooney. The revelation that Theodore J. Mooney is appearing on a public service program immediately produces one of the series' signature tonal shifts. Doris's reaction, "Yippee, we're in for a real swinging evening," is pure dry sarcasm, while Lucy's insistence that they must watch is justified by an invented old Chinese proverb that captures in a single comic stroke the precarious power dynamic of the workplace when boss appears on television. Secretary better watch or next day boss get new secretary. The joke is gentle yet precise. It acknowledges the hierarchical realities of the banking world while simultaneously allowing Lucy to maintain her characteristic blend of loyalty and self-preservation. The television set is switched on, and after a brief deliberate misidentification of a horror film, the slimy monster from outer space, the camera settles upon Mr. Mooney himself. Gail Gordon's performance in these early moments is a master class in controlled pomposity. Introduced by an unseen announcer as our guest Mr. Theodore J. Mooney, he greets the audience with formal gravity and announces his topic: the value of education in the business world. What follows is a self-congratulatory monologue that the script renders with exquisite comic timing. Education, Mooney declares, is all important in the business world. It made me what I am today. The line is allowed to hang in the air just long enough for Lucy's off-screen retort, "Oh come now, don't blame that on education," to land with perfect precision. Mooney continues undeterred, claiming a well-rounded background that comes from sitting on this chair all day. His advice to the youth of the day is the familiar exhortation not to be a dropout. Education, he insists, makes a better person of one. Speaking for himself, it has given him a greater understanding of human nature, which in turn made me thoughtful, compassionate, considerate, kind. The balloon of self-regard is punctured quite literally by the television set itself. Lucy's set cannot endure the weight of such unalloyed self-praise and promptly blows out. The physical gag is pure Lucille Ball, the sudden failure of technology as moral commentary. Yet the moment is more than a simple sight gag. It foreshadows the larger theme of the episode, the gap between proclaimed ideals and lived reality, and it allows the narrative to transition smoothly from the domestic living room to the bank the following morning. In the office the next day, Mr. Mooney is still basking in the afterglow of his televised performance. He inquires whether Lucy watched him. Her answer yes and no is a model of diplomatic evasion. When pressed, she explains that the picture tube blew out in the middle of the speech. Mooney's response is pure theatrical self-regard. She has missed a very enlightening speech and a magnificent performance, one of the highlights of the television season. He can hardly wait for the summer rerun. The line is delivered with such sincerity that the audience is invited both to laugh at Mooney's vanity and to recognize the genuine pride of a man who has been given a public platform. More significantly, the broadcast has impressed Mr. Cheever, the higher authority at the bank. Inspired by Mooney's remarks on education, Cheever has instituted a new policy: the bank will no longer employ anyone who does not possess a high school diploma. The dictation of the memo is one of the quiet triumphs of the script structure. Lucy takes her book. Mooney begins to all department heads as per Mr. Cheever's instructions. It will immediately become the policy of this bank not to employ anyone who does not have a high school diploma, and the words fall upon Lucy's ears like a personal sentence. Her reaction is a masterpiece of gradual realization. First a soft "oh," then the insistence that nothing is the matter. Then the inevitable confession forced by Mooney's insistent questioning. Would you believe that I never finished high school, she asks. Mooney's reply, I'd believe you never finished nursery school, is both cruel and affectionate in the peculiar way that Gail Gordon specialized in. The exchange that follows is pure character comedy. Lucy explains that she did attend high school but left in her senior year after contracting the measles during final examinations. The following year, she simply decided it was too late to return. Mooney's rejoinder is the episode's thematic thesis: when it comes to education, it is never too late. The cultural resonance of this moment in 1967 cannot be overstated. The United States was deep in the throes of educational expansion and anxiety. The baby boom had swollen high school and college enrollments, dropout rates were a subject of national concern, and the idea that adult education could redeem earlier failures was gaining institutional support. At the same time, the sitcom form itself was quietly negotiating the changing expectations of women's roles. Lucy Carmichael is a working widow, a secretary, a woman of a certain age who has managed her life with competence and resilience. The sudden revelation that she lacks a high school diploma places her for the first time in the series' later seasons in a position of genuine professional vulnerability. The threat is not abstract. Mooney makes it explicit: without the diploma, she will lose her job. Cheever will fire her. The only alternative is to return to high school. Lucille Ball's physical and facial performance in this sequence is a study in controlled vulnerability. The initial denial, the hesitant confession, the flash of panic when she realizes the seriousness of the new policy, and the final reluctant acceptance that she must go back to school, all are registered with the precision of a great physical comedienne who understands that the face can be as eloquent as any pratfall. When she protests that she feels ridiculous going back to high school now, Mooney's answer is both ruthless and in its way kindly: she will feel even more ridiculous being unemployed. The scene ends with Lucy's repeated, almost childlike protests: Mr. Mooney, no, 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 as the inevitable is set in motion. What makes this opening movement so effective is its seamless integration of several of The Lucy Show's enduring strengths. There is the gentle satire of institutional pomposity, Mooney's television speech, the affectionate mockery of workplace hierarchy, the Chinese proverb, the memo dictation, the recognition of genuine middle-class anxiety, the sudden threat to employment, and the celebration of personal resilience. Lucy's ultimate decision, however, reluctant to return to school. The writing never loses sight of the fact that education is both a genuine value and a comic premise. Mooney's speech is absurd in its self-congratulation, yet the policy it inspires is treated with seriousness. Lucy's lack of a diploma is a source of humor, yet the consequences are real enough to drive the entire subsequent narrative. The 1960s context deepens the comedy further. High school completion was becoming an expected credential for white-collar employment. Adult education programs were expanding, and the idea of a middle-aged woman returning to the classroom carried both progressive and potentially humiliating overtones. The script navigates these tensions with remarkable grace. It never condescends to Lucy's predicament, nor does it allow Mooney's self-righteousness to go unchallenged. The result is a foundation of character and theme solid enough to support the increasingly elaborate comic structures that will follow: the high school classrooms, the Jack Benny vault, the old lady disguise, and the Robert Goulet look-alike contest. In these opening pages, the series reaffirms its commitment to the proposition that ordinary life observed with affection and precision contains infinite comic possibility. A television set that cannot endure self-praise, a memo that changes a woman's professional destiny, a confession extracted under gentle duress. These are the modest materials from which The Lucy Show constructs its enduring appeal. Lucille Ball, as always, is the animating force. Her ability to register panic, calculation, reluctance, and eventual determination within a single scene is the reason the premise feels both fresh and inevitable. By the time the admissions office has handed her papers to Mr. Willick and she is directed to take a seat in a high school classroom, the audience is fully invested. The diploma ultimatum has been delivered, the television speech has done its work, and Lucy Carmichael is about to discover that education, whatever its value in the business world, is also an inexhaustible source of physical comedy, social observation, and the particular brand of resilient optimism that defined Lucille Ball's art for more than 3 decades. The transition from living room television to bank office to the threshold of the high school classroom is accomplished with the seamless craftsmanship that characterized the best of the series' later seasons. Every line serves multiple purposes, advancing plot, revealing character, and inviting the audience into a shared recognition of the absurdities and aspirations of middle-class American life in the late 1960s. Mr. Mooney's education speech, for all its comic inflation, is not merely a joke. It is the catalyst that forces Lucy into a journey of unexpected self-discovery. The new bank policy, however, bureaucratic in origin, becomes the instrument through which the series explores themes of lifelong learning, generational difference, and the quiet courage required to admit an unfinished past. In the hands of Lucille Ball and Gale Gordon, these themes never feel heavy. They remain light, buoyant, and deeply human qualities that continue to reward close attention more than half a century later.